Hey guys, Victor here again, coming at you with another retro deck profile for the September 2011 format. And today's focus is going to be on Hero Gate, which is personally one of my favorite hero variants, and it honestly, it just does not get the love that it deserves, because what it does is basically revolves around the field spell Fusion Gate to fuse all your hero monsters to quickly overwhelm your opponent, thanks to the fact that we have four of the six Omni heroes. If you play Columbus, you'll have access to 5 of the 6 because Great Tornado would be legal. But since I play Toronto, I'm not going to be using Great Tornado, just like as a heads up. And this is also not Electrum FTK because we like playing good, honest Yu-Gi-Oh! On this channel. So, with that out of the way, let's just jump straight into the deck profile. Kicking off the monster lineup, we are of course going to be playing the one copy of Elemental Hero Stratos. Not much to say, it searches pretty much the entire deck, or at least the key pieces of the deck. And then it has the secondary effect of being able to destroy spells and traps, but you don't really use it for that. You pretty much just want to be able to search as many resources as possible to feed into your fusion gates. Then, after that, we're going to be playing 3 Elemental Hero Neos Alius. This is going to be probably your main beat stick of the deck if I'm being honest, just because heroes are pretty weak in this era, unless you're able to fusion some of them out. But Alius is still really good because we're going to be combining it with key cards like Gemini Spark to help us outgrind our opponents and just get rid of key back row pieces. So yeah, 3 Alius, definitely the way to go. Then we're going to be playing 3 Elemental Hero Voltic. So Elemental Hero Voltic is a really cool card because what it does is when this card inflicts battle damage to your opponent, it's able to special summon one of your remove from play Elemental Hero monsters. And let's just say we're banishing monsters constantly, and one of those just happens to be Elemental Hero Stratos. So there's a lot of really cool plays where Voltic is able to bring back Stratos, and Stratos can either pop or search, and then you can go from there with either a fusion summon or a rank 4 play, or just, yeah, Voltic just adds another dimension to this deck that just is so cool. And you don't really see in a lot of hero decks in this time period, because a lot of the time you're just going to see Hero Beat, which is just Stratos Alias plus a bunch of traps. But this one is more traditional with what heroes were intended to do, and just consistently just spam out fusion monsters. And so, yeah, definitely 3 Voltic. And then after that, we're playing 1 Elemental Hero Heat. He's basically just a beat stick because what he does is for every face-up Elemental Hero monster, he gains 200 attack, and that includes himself. So the moment he hits the field, if there's no other heroes besides him, he's automatically 1800. But we're basically just using him because Nova Master's a card. But even then, sometimes Heat gets pretty big pretty fast, so he does become a threat against opponents eventually. And then for the 1 water hero we're playing, I decided to go with Elemental Hero Ice Edge. So your choices for the water hero are either Ice Edge, Bubble Man, or Ocean. And I honestly don't like any of those 3. I think they're all pretty mediocre, but at least with Ice Edge you can attack directly and clear back row before committing all your resources. But yeah, you can honestly play any one of the 3, but I just decided to go with Ice Edge for this one specifically. Then that's it for the hero monsters, but we still have plenty of other monsters that we play. Starting off with 3 Tour Guide from the Underworld. So this deck banishes a lot, and Tour Guide is fantastic at retrieving banishing cards or banished cards because of the fact that we can go into Levier and just get back our resources. And this is really good at being able to go, so normal summon Tour Guide, special summon another Tour Guide, or your Sangan, because we do play the Sangan. Then you go Levier, bring back Stratos, search a monster, and then you Fusion Gate into another fusion or a hero fusion, and then yeah, the resources that you can just get back and then continue to climb on and put constant pressure on your opponent is just invaluable. And then we're also going to be playing 2 Thunder King Ryos. This deck doesn't really have a lot of defensive options. It's very offense heavy, so I decided to throw in 2 Thunder Kings, just to help slow down any opposing decks with whatever they may do, because Thunder King stops searching, which does hurt a little bit, but it'll hurt our opponent more because we're going to be searching before we summon Thunder King. And then just being able to stop big boss monsters like BLS from coming down is just honestly just really, really good. Then after that, we're going to be playing some hand traps. So we play the 2 Maxi, the 2 Effect Veiler, just standard stuff. And then we're also going to be playing 1 Honest. So Honest has a lot of synergy in this deck, especially with Elemental Hero Voltic, because it allows Voltic to beat over whatever monster may be causing you trouble, and then in turn, Voltic's effect will activate to bring back a hero monster, normally Stratos, but that's not always going to be banished. But whatever you do get just helps put you one step ahead. And you could also, just sometimes bluff it. You just summon a Voltic in attack mode while you have banished heroes, and sometimes your opponent will be dumb enough to attack into an Honest. So, it's just a really cool card that catches a lot of people off guard. And then for the final monster, we're going to be playing 1 BLS, we play the tour guides, we play the Sangant, and we play a bunch of light monsters. It's a no-brainer just to splash BLS in this deck because it does come up, and just being able to drop this in addition to your hero monsters will straight up win you the game sometimes. And with that, that's the monster lineup, and now we can finally move on to the spell and trap portion of the deck. For the spells, we're going to be starting off with 3 Fusion Gates. So this is probably one of the most important cards in the deck, and you always want to have access to it just because it's literally what allows you to play the game, as all it does is when this card is face up on the field, you can special summon a fusion monster by banishing the materials from your hand or field. And this card's like honestly like really like super hiddenly good, if that makes sense, because one of the key factors that helps Fusion Gate decks just overwhelm your opponent is that it cannot be stopped by cards like Solemn Warning, because it's already been activated, so that means Solemn Warning can't stop it, whether it's like, you know, just already be placed on the field or whatever, because it only prevents activations. And even when you're just activating it, you're not performing a fusion summon, so Warning is just completely ineffective against this card. And then honestly, it's just a really cool card, and I just love what it does for this deck. And then after that, we're going to be playing 3 Gemini Sparks. You know, we played 3 Alias, and we play lots of ways to retrieve our Alias, so playing 3 Gemini Sparks is a no-brainer. And then after that, we're also going to be playing 3 Miracle Fusions. So while Fusion Gate does banish a lot of our resources, the fusion monsters themselves tend to go to the graveyard after they're being destroyed by card effects or battle or just being removed from the field in general. So just being able to go Miracle Fusion, banish our resources, and just not have to completely 100% rely on something like Fusion Gate does go a long way in helping you win the game. Then after that, we're going to be playing 2 Emergency Call. We're not playing Reinforcement of the Army just because Emergency Call searches everything that Rhoda would search plus more, because cards like Voltic, Heat, and I believe Ice Edge are not warrior monsters like traditional elemental heroes. They're like just pretty much everything from like that premium pack selection, whatever, is a different type from warrior. So E-Call is definitely the way to go. And you can even make a justification for playing 3 E-Calls in this specific deck, but I think 2 is plenty. And then after that, we have like our, you know, staple power spells. So you have the Reborn, the Dark Hole, the Heavy Storm, the Mystical Space Typhoon. And we're not playing Book of Moon just because like we're not pretty much worried about Thunder King. Like, yeah, it stops our searches, but a lot of our summons aren't inherent summons, so that means Thunder King is going to be useless a large majority of the time. And then for the other spells, we have the Terraforming to search for our Fusion Gates, and we're also playing 1 Future Fusion. So even though you do want resources in hand, Future Fusion helps you, you know, send them from deck to grave, which in turn gets you to your Miracle Fusions, making them more live. And then after you've used your Miracle Fusions, you're probably going to have your monsters be destroyed, and then you get your resources back, especially if Elemental Hero the Shining was used, or was summoned as part of that, you know? And then this card also, like, puts your opponent on the clock to answer it before they, like, get OTK'd. So, yeah, there's just a lot of really cool interactions that this card has with the deck. And with that, that's the spell lineup, but we play 2 traps. You know, just 1 Solemn Judgment because, you know, being able to negate something at a very key moment, like a Mirror Force or whatever, is still really important. And then we also play the 1 trap Dust Shoot because it's Dust Shoot. And with that, that's the main deck, and now we can finally move on to the extra deck portion. Now for the extra deck, we're going to be starting off with the Xyz monsters. So we're going to be playing the 1 number 17 Leviathan Dragon. Even though I have mentioned, you know, like what Tour Guide is mainly used for, being able to make Leviathan Dragon is still really good too, just because it helps you give insta access to any potential absolute zeros that you may be summoning. And then we're going to be playing the 1 Leviair. As I've also stated, the importance of Leviair is huge because it helps you get back your resources when the Shining and the Voltic aren't enough. Then we are playing a couple of rank 4s, so we're playing the 1 Utopia because it's Utopia, along with the 1 Steel Swarm Roach to help you prevent your opponent from being able to drop cards like Chaos Sorcerer, Hyperion, BLS, etc. You know, just threats like that. And that's it for the Xyz. And then we do play a couple Synchro monsters, but we typically just don't summon them. Like, you have 1 Alius Catastor, which, you know, this is probably the easiest of the bunch to summon because all it takes is Effect Veiler plus level 4, which we play plenty of both. 1 Bryonic Dragon of the Ice Barrier. This one's one that you're probably never going to summon if I'm being honest. But, you know, Reborn does exist, so you can take an opponent's potential, you know, like level 2 or 3 tuner monster and then just synchro with your own. But, yeah, this one's probably just never going to be in here, so if you want to cut this and play like another Omni hero, that's perfectly fine. And then lastly, 1 Trishula Dragon of the Ice Barrier. This one does sometimes come up because, like I said, we do play Effect Veiler and we play a bunch of level 4s, so probably like the easiest way to do it would be like if you have a Voltic Engrave or something, you can Reborn it and you attack directly with like you know, because both players are low on resources, you bring back Stratos, you search with Stratos, then you can normal a Veiler or whatever and make this, but uh, it's probably not going to happen too often if I'm being honest. So yeah. And then after that, we can finally get to the fusion aspect, because this extra deck is a majority, like, you know, fusion monster based. So we're playing one Vision Hero Trinity. So this is mainly for future fusion, because thanks to the Vision Heroes being introduced, that means we're going to be able to send as many heroes, or, well, in this case, any three heroes from our deck to the grave. So that opens up our Miracle Fusion to have pretty much the possibilities to summon whatever monster we want. And then, you know, sometimes, like, especially in this format, there are a lot of times where your opponent just has like 3 monsters in attack position, so you can just summon Trinity and attack all 3 of them per game. So yeah, just a really good card. Then you're playing the 1-of Elemental Hero Nova Master. This is just, you know, if you have heat and you have like another hero monster, you can make this to start drawing through your deck to try and draw more key combo pieces. Then you also have the 1 Elemental Hero Gaia. Not that great, but it is there because we have the option, thanks to the fact that we play Earths like Max C. And you know, sometimes being able to just take half an opponent's monster and then attack them with Gaia is, you know, enough to win the game. Obviously, if you have Great Tornado is infinitely better at doing what Gaia does than Gaia. But since I don't play Columbus, I play Toronto, that means Great Tornado is not legal for me. And then after that, we're going to be playing 2 Elemental Hero Absolute Zeros. The second most important Omni Hero, just because it's a free board wipe every time it leaves the field. And that includes when it's returned to the extra deck. As opposed to like nowadays where if 0 goes to the extra deck, it will not trigger. It did back in the day. So yeah, just really good card. And it pretty much invalidates cards like Compulsory, Evacuation Vice, and things of that nature. And then for the final card, we're going to be playing 3 Elemental Hero The Shining. This is going to be your main go-to hero fusion just because of how often, how big it gets, how often it gets destroyed, which means how often you're going to be getting your resources back. Not much to say. This card is just incredible at what it does. It baits so many cards, and having your opponent trying to constantly, you know, try to outgrind you is just not very possible once Elemental Hero The Shining hits the field. And with that, that's the Hero Gate deck profile. I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you did, please feel free to like, comment, subscribe, and I'll catch you guys next time. See ya!